Welcome back. This is Chapter 2, Section 3, Graph Equations of Lines. So, first of all, let's define some of those. Parent functions are the most basic form of equation. So, like for linear, it's y equals x. For quadratic, it's y equals x squared. For a cubic, it's y equals x cubed. For a square root, it's y equals the square root of x. For absolute value, it's y equals the absolute value of x. They're all the most basic. The y-intercept, we're going to put two bullets here. It is where it crosses the y-axis. You should also know that the y-intercept is when x is equal to 0. So all y-intercepts, x equals 0. And you can see that just based on points. Oops, there's a really bad, let's see, that's better. So this point, let's scale it. Let's draw some points in here. So this point right here, 0, 1. This point, 0, 2. This point, 0, 4. This point, 0, negative 2. You can see that they all have a 0 in the x. So anytime a 0 is in the x, that means it is a y-intercept. Slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b equals the y-intercept. Standard form of a linear equation. Standard form looks like this: ax plus b y equals c. Now here, when you have this equation m, you can say that m is equal to negative a over b. So if you were given standard form like this and asked what is the slope, all you'd have to do is look at the opposite of the coefficient of x and divide it by b. The y-intercept or little b is equivalent to c over b. You don't necessarily need to use this, but it might make things easier for you later on. The x-intercept, it's where it crosses or intersects the x-axis, which hopefully then you could assume then that y equals 0 in the x-intercept. So here is the x-axis. Here's a point. That point is negative 1, 0, negative 3, 0, negative 2, 0, or 2, 0, I mean. And you should see then that 0 in the y, 0 in the y, 0 in the y. So keep those, please remember those. Parent functions for linear equations. The parent function for the family of all linear equation functions is y equals x. The graph of y equals x is shown. So it goes through the origin, it has this positive one, m is 1, so it's a nice one. In general, a blank of a graph is the y-coordinate of a point where the graph intersects the y-axis. The y-intercept of a graph is the y-coordinate of a point where the graph intersects the y-axis. All right, using slope-intercept form to graph. Now remember, from 2.1, you just need 2 points to graph. Meaning you could use a table of values and you could still graph using a table of values. But there are some fair shortcuts. Write the equation in blank form by solving for y. Not stop. In slope, intercept form by solving for y. Blank the y-intercept b. Use it to plot the point 0b, where the line crosses the y-axis. When x is 0, that's the y-axis. Identify the blank, the slope, m, and use it to plot a second point on a line. And all you have to do is draw a line through the 2 points. So, a lot of times it'll give it to you in slope-intercept form. So step 1, the equation is already in slope-intercept form. The y-intercept is 1. So the point, plot the point 0, 1. The y-axis, y-intercept is at 0, 1. 0, 1. I think the scale here looks like 2. Where the line crosses the y-axis. Now the slope is negative 3 over 2 or 3 over negative 2. You can think of it in either way. So plot a second point on a line by starting at 0, 1, and then moving down blank units and right blank units. Well, down is a y change, and down would be a negative change, so you need to go down 3 units and right 2 units. So down 3, 1, 2, 3, right 2, so there's our second point. Once you have the 2 points, you can just draw your graph. So the second point is negative 1, negative 1. If you didn't want to go down and left, oh, sorry. I'm glad I looked at it. It's not this. Sorry, I hope you're not writing in pen. Got a little anxious here. So down 3, 1, 2, 3, and then right 2 is over here. No, I realized that because when I was about ready to draw the line, I saw the line was going to give me positive, but I know it's negative. So now I have these 2 points, and I'll go back to what I was saying. If you wanted to do a third point, instead of going down and right, you should go up, 1, 2, 3, and left. Up and left. And now you've got 4 points. You could again go down, 1, 2, 3, and right, down and right. And what you're seeing here is you should see if I can actually draw it. There you go. A line that goes through those points perfectly. All right, guided practice number 1. Number 1. Graph y equals negative 2x. All right. First of all, this doesn't quite look like y equals mx plus b. That's because there's a plus 0. So our b value is equal to 0, which means 0, 0 is my y-intercept. M equals negative 2, which means my rise over run could be negative 2 over 1. So plot some information here. 0, 0 is my y-intercept. Negative 2 rise is down 2. Positive run is 1. The alternative could be 2 over 1, negative 1, so that would be up 2, left 1. And whatever you do, you should see that you have a nice, perfectly straight line through those points. Let's try number 5. 2/5 x plus 4. B equals 4, therefore y-intercept 0, 4. M is 2/5, therefore the rise is 2, the run is 5. Plot the point. 0, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. The rise is 2, 1, 2. The run is 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And with just 2 points, you can draw your graph. Using standard form to graph an equation. All right, so that was y-intercept form. Standard form, identify the x-intercept by letting what equals 0. Well, think about the vocabulary I gave you. And when you have the x-intercept, y is 0, and then solve for x. Use the x-intercept to plot the point where the line crosses the x-axis. So basically all you have to do is get rid of y term. Just cover it up, get rid of it. Then identify the y-intercept by letting x equal 0 and solving for y. The y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. This gives you 2 points, therefore you can draw a line. I'll add the extra note here as well. You basically get rid of x. So, take a look here. This equation is already in standard form. If you put a 0, first off it says let y equals 0, put a 0 in there. Basically what happens is this whole term disappears. That whole term disappears like that. And now 2x equals 12. Well, just looking at that, you should know the x-intercept is 6. So the x-intercept is at 6, 0. Next step, plot the x-intercept at 6, 0. I'm sorry, let x equal 0. If you put a 0 in there, then basically what you're doing is covering up this part. 3y equals 12. Well, if 3y equals 12, that means y is 4. And you have 0, 4 as your intercept. The cover-up method, I think, is actually a little faster. So, step 4, draw a line through the 2 points. 6, 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 0, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 points. And your perfectly straight line. All right. Guided practice number 11. Graph the equation. 2x plus 5y equals 10. So the x-intercept, let's do the x-intercept first. X-intercept, we don't care about y, so 2x equals 10. And when I say we don't care about it, remember, we're just doing 5 times 0, which is 0. So our x-intercept was 5. So 5, 0. Now let's do the y-intercept. This time we don't care about x. 5y equals 10. Y equals 2. 0, 2 is my y-intercept. Because remember, all we did was we said that 2 times 0 just disappears. So let's draw our graph. Our points are at 5, 0, 0, 2. Draw your perfectly straight line through the points. All right, let's talk about horizontal and vertical lines. Horizontal lines, the graph of y equals c is a horizontal line through. All right, remember, horizontal slopes. When we talked in section 2 about slopes, horizontal lines, oops, here's a graph. Here's a horizontal line. We did it for the axis, but a horizontal line. Let's say it's like this, and there's a bunch of points on this line. Let's look at these points. This point here, -1, 2. This point, -3, 2. This point, 1, 2. This point, 3, 2. What do you see in common for this horizontal line? You should see that there is a 2, 2, 2, 2 in the y, 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 y. Therefore, the equation is y equals 2. It doesn't matter what x is. Y is always 2. So, the way you write this out is you don't really care. The x doesn't matter, so 0c. For the vertical line, y doesn't matter, so it's y, so it's c, 0. Right? That's how it sets up. That's how vertical lines through this as the intercept. So graph y equals -1. Well, the graph of y equals -1 is the blank line that passes through 0, -1. And since it's a y, horizontal, and basically what you can do is think, all right, here's y's -1. There's a point, -1, -1, -1, -1. You end up with a horizontal line through it. Now, one way I try to remember this is right here. Let's write y equals -1. Now, take a look at this 8, y. If I rotated the y, what would it look like right now? Hopefully you're all saying, well, it might look like a little bit of a 5, but hopefully it looks like an H for horizontal. So y is -1 is a horizontal line. Now -2, or x is -2, is a vertical line. It goes through 2, 0. So here x is 2, 2, 2, 2. X is still 2 there, 2 there, 2 there. Every place where x is 2, ooh, you get a line. That is probably the worst line I drew today. Yeah, that's better. That is the x coordinate has an x coordinate of 2. Up here, every y coordinate is a y coordinate of -1. It doesn't matter what x is for the y-intercept. It doesn't matter what the y is for the x-intercept. Okay, looks like we're almost done. We'll keep it under 25 again. Guided practice 13 says to graph x equals 1. Well, x equals 1. There's a bunch of v's here for vertical through 1. So it's just a vertical line through 1. Every point on here, x is equal to 1. It doesn't matter what the y is. X is always 1. All right, let's take a look here. This is, first of all, what form? mx plus b. So once you get good at this, you can just put a dot at 2 on the y-intercept. The slope is negative 2 over 1, so that's down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, and you get a nice straight line. This is again y equals mx plus b. B is negative 4 now. M is 4/3. So the rise is 4/3. 4/3. And you get a nice positive slope. Right here, this is standard form. So, standard form says that 4x equals 8. Tells us that the x-intercept is at 2. Tells us that the y-intercept is at 4. And once you have 2 points on a line, you drop. Standard form once again. So to find the x-intercept, we get rid of the y. So negative 5x equals 15. Therefore, the x-intercept is negative 3. Let's move this. Now we don't care about that. So 3y equals 15. So y is 5. Y-intercept of 2, 4, 5. You have 2 points. Draw your line. That's how long this graphing can take. You could always make a table of values. Don't forget. That can always work as well. So this is what we should be doing in class. Make sure you finish the guided practice, and good luck.